Good morning. It is Tuesday, November the 9th. I'm Shane Seeley, and this is the CBC Morning Report. Barbados dipped under the 200 mark in the latest positive COVID-19 test results after a streak of daily positives in the 200s, 300s, and even 400s. There were only 196 new COVID-19 cases identified by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. That's out of 1,163 tests conducted on Sunday. That number included 82 males and 114 females. The new positives also comprise 43 persons who are under the age of 18. There are now 915 people in isolation facilities and 6,780 people in home isolation. Meanwhile, under the National Vaccination Program for COVID-19, the total number of people with at least one dose of the jab is 150,437, or 65.9% of the eligible population. A total of 129,966 persons, which is 48% of the total population, or 57% of the eligible population, have received their second doses and are fully vaccinated. And speaking of vaccination and the vaccination program, the national vaccination rate is now moving, as you can see, at pretty much a snail's pace, creeping towards that 50% national mark, with many Barbadians still refusing to get a COVID-19 vaccine. News is that some are waiting last minute to decide not to get the jab, posing some serious logistical problems for the volunteer mobile vaccine unit.
We've also been having some challenges where people say they want the vaccine, we arrive to give them the vaccine. We've actually had some of their younger relatives bar us from going into the homes to the older people. We've also had some people that, we will call, we're on our way. We call the day before, no problems. When we, on the actual day, we call to say we're on our way, then they change their mind for whatever reason. And this is then putting a lot of spokes in the wheels, because, you have a plan, you're going to do a certain amount a day, then you're ending up not doing that amount. You end up with extra vaccines that you may not necessarily use, and we can't put them back in the bottle. So you're ending up having to discard.
Dr. Moore has been giving an update on the mobile program, describing a situation which points to a clear slowdown in the vaccination drive.
We actually were operating earlier this year, and we had done quite a lot earlier this year, and then we disbanded. But now that we're back, I think we are just above 100 and something. Remembering that we are literally driving to different people's homes to give them their vaccines and to give them their cards and wait a bit and all these different things. So it does take a while. It's different like when you're at a center where you can vaccinate a lot of people. Take it from me, getting the injection isn't a long period. It is doing all the aftercare and the cards and stuff like that. That does take a lot of time. So we've done just over 100 or so, and we would like to do more.
Meanwhile, local health authorities will soon have more tracking bracelets as they aim to clamp down on breaches of home isolation. Consultant manager of the program, Dr. Adana Grandison, explains while a minority of people in home isolation are responsible for these breaches, it's a situation that's receiving their urgent attention.
We are still in the process of acquiring some of those additional tags at this point in time, but I think at the current moment we have just over 200, and I know that this weekend we were supposed to get an additional 200 tags onto the island, but we have been banning and removing quite often some of the actual persons who have met criteria for the electronic monitoring bans.
Now, the Executive Director of CARFA, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, Dr. Joy St. John, has also weighed in, saying she's personally not in favor of home isolation. However, she understands it's a practical solution for the challenges currently confronting local and regional health officials.
Two things. Caribbean people, not just Bajan people, Caribbean people hate to be home, even if they're feeling ill and they walk around. And this is what we have seen in the other jurisdictions that are using home quarantine. They move around. And then the other thing is, especially after Delta got here, is that Delta changes everything, including the disease course. So someone can be fine and then crash in an hour. When they say crash, I mean crash in a way that you cannot necessarily be able to save them or get them where they need to go if they need saving. And I was afraid of that, but we have to be practical. We just don't have 2,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 beds for isolation in the public facilities. So we have to be practical.
We'll take a break here, but when we come back, we'll give you more updates about what's happening on the local, international, and regional fronts with COVID-19. Two Barbadian men have succumbed to COVID-19, bringing the total number of deaths here in Barbados from the virus to 182. A 46-year-old man died from the viral illness on Sunday at the Accident and Emergency Department of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. He was unvaccinated. Additionally, a 79-year-old man passed away at the Harrison Point Isolation Facility yesterday. He was also unvaccinated. The United States is opening its doors to travelers from a long list of countries that had been subject to previous pandemic restrictions. Fully vaccinated travelers from Mexico, Canada, the United Kingdom, and most of Europe, as well as China, India, and South Africa, Iran, and Brazil, will be allowed into the U.S. at airports and land borders as the restrictions were lifted yesterday. The pandemic controls originally put in place at the beginning of 2020 had barred access to the U.S. for non-citizens who had been in those countries 14 days before traveling.
Just to give you some examples, as flights start to land here, mostly from Europe, we've seen a young Brazilian woman that lives here in the state of New Jersey embrace her boyfriend from the Netherlands for the first time in over a year. That was a few minutes ago. They hugged each other for more than 10 minutes. And I said, what's the first thing you're going to do now? And they said, now we want to get married. I saw a young French women, a group of girlfriends, if you will, arrive here. They're here for tourism. They said, we haven't been to New York for years, and we just wanted to be here to experience the city again now that it's reopened for foreign tourists that are fully vaccinated. And then a really heartwarming scene we saw of a woman from the neighboring state of Vermont that was here waiting for her boyfriend from France. They haven't seen each other for 22 months. 22 months. And they just were happy to be together as well. This is pretty much what we've been seeing pretty much all morning as flights land here at the airport. Foreign tourists account for over $250 billion a year to the economy of the United States. A lot of that comes right here to the state of New York and New York City primarily, where about 13 million foreign tourists visit New York City every year, but not for the last 2 years during the pandemic, essentially when New York shut down. So this is the first time that foreign tourists can come back to New York for non-essential reasons, and we see people reuniting with loved ones. Again, both tourists and people just coming to reunite with loved ones that they haven't been able to see for so long. This is also going to be a big boost for the New York City economy. It really is the lifeblood of the economy in New York City is tourists, primarily foreign tourists who account for about 50% of all the spending. And so this is going to be a big boost for them as well. Listen, there's a lot of bad news in the world, but certainly today, at least here at airports and border crossings, certainly a lot of good news as people, again, reunite with loved ones after so long.
And the U.S.-Mexican border is an even bigger deal as it's the busiest land crossing in the Western Hemisphere, being responsible for billions of dollars in trade.
On Monday, San Isidro, the biggest land border crossing in the Western Hemisphere, went back to something like normal. The pandemic restrictions that the US had placed on its southern border with Mexico were finally eased. For international trade, that won't mean much. Mexico's mighty border factories, the maquiladoras, had already been allowed to cross their goods into the US for the past year. But it's the so-called non-essential travellers, Mexican locals and tourists, who've now been cleared to visit as long as they're fully vaccinated. Inez is one of many in Tijuana who's been counting down the days.
The first thing that I'm going to do is cross with my kids and take the opportunity to take the vaccination for them. In Mexico, we don't have that opportunity.
Are there many people in your family as well, or friends, that have been waiting for this opportunity to cross the border for whatever reason as well?
Sí, claro que sí.
Yes, of course. All of my friends want to go shopping, and many people who have family there want to see them again and have the life we had before. It's really exciting.
California's border businesses will be excited to see them again too. Without their Mexican customers, hundreds closed down during the pandemic. But in Tijuana, it's been quite the opposite. Restaurants have benefited from Americans heading across to dine in a country where restrictions are not as strict.
People, I think, were tired of eating home, and they start coming over here to Tijuana because they're free to sit over here. ¿Cómo va todo hoy?
Now Sergio and other restaurateurs are hoping the US visitors will keep coming and that locals won't abandon them now they're free to head to the States. There will be a 50% increase in traffic heading across the border, Tijuana authorities believe, but many waiting on the streets or in tents for their chance to cross won't be able to join that rush. This is a camp of asylum seekers who want to get into the United States, but the easing of the pandemic restrictions aren't going to make any difference for them. And it's a reminder that COVID isn't the only issue at this border. There's also migration, and it will continue to be so even when the pandemic is long gone. These people are stuck at the only crossing point to the US in Tijuana, which remains closed, while the rest of the border gets moving again.
Let's now hear what's happening on the Tuesday edition of Morning Barbados. That's coming your way at 6:30. Pearson, what do you have for your viewers?
Good morning, everyone. Well, coming up at 6:30 this morning, we'll meet the man who decided, you know what, it's frustrating sometimes going online in search of a service. So he wants to create a platform where now he takes that frustration, but most of all, define again the nature of static directory listings. So we meet Mark Foster, the director behind EQI Caribbean. There's a woman who's written a book called Kingdom Budgeting for Women. She wants to share with us some of her kingdom principles. What are they and how do they apply to budgeting? We'll share with her as well. And some of the top 10 things that really bother parents of newborn babies. We'll share in our pediatric corner as well when Dr. Gillian Birchwood comes by. Just a little bit of what you can experience from 6:30 this morning when you join me for Morning Barbados. Back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Pearson. Up next, you'll hear the latest on COP26 in Glasgow and some big news for the agriculture sector here in Barbados. The details are next. The target may not be reached for a recent proposal by the International Monetary Fund to make billions of dollars for climate action available to low and middle income countries. The suggestion is coming from the Minister in the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Investment, Marcia Cattle. She was taking part in the first high-level ministerial dialogue on climate finance in Glasgow as part of COP26, while some $50 billion in special drawing rights, or SDRs, has been allocated by the IMF. Minister Cattle suggests what is really needed is $500 billion.
When we take a proportion of those annual issuances of SDRs, in the first instance it could be over 3 years, and then we do a review. But that will give any investor in mitigation or adaptation projects the right to borrow at the overnight interest rates of countries whose currencies make up the SDR, which are currently, those interest rates are currently near zero. And to roll over this borrowing for as long as the project continues to deliver some minimum rate of reduction in greenhouse gases or increase in adaptation per dollar invested.
Noting that Barbados remains the largest issuer of natural disaster clauses in the world, Minister Cattle stressed that it is these types of clauses that are needed in more debt instruments at the sovereign, global and multilateral levels. Now, work in agriculture in Barbados has moved to the next level. 3 plantations, Mount Pleasant, St. John, Searles in Christchurch and Spring Hall, St. Lucie, are now fitted with mobile convenience units, which were introduced yesterday in ceremonies attended by officials of the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security and the Barbados Workers' Union. Trevor Thorpe has more.
After more than 20 years, a new day has dawned in agriculture in Barbados. And the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Indar Ware, in praising the Barbados Agricultural Management Company and the Barbados Workers' Union, said it was also a promise made by government and told the gathering it was also the new way of working in agriculture.
This is in keeping with the promise that we've made, and I want all Barbadians to appreciate the fact that even though we are going through a very difficult period, the government is still performing and is still delivering on their behalf.
Deputy General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, Dwayne Paul, said the mobile units should be the standard in the industry going forward, but the union also wants to hear about a maintenance plan.
The union is pleased today, and as I said, the workers are happy, and that is what we strive for. We believe that we need to do more to signal to people that agriculture is an industry that is respected, that is an industry we care about, and is a profession that people can gravitate towards.
Charge hand at Mount Pleasant Plantation, Kathy Ann Pinder, said it is a great improvement over what obtained in the past, and the workers are happy with the developments now taking place in agriculture.
It has what is necessary inside of it, the hand sanitizer, the bathrooms, which was always a problem, not having the bathroom. So we have the bathroom, male and female, attached to the back. So I'm grateful, and I believe I speak for all the workers out there. We are thankful.
The mobile units can accommodate up to 10 persons under the COVID-19 protocols, and laborer at Searles Plantation, Sophia Burt, said she likes the new facilities.
I like your bus too, right? But this one is okay. We enjoy it. All we can do is make sure we don't damage it. We can keep it clean and everything. But all is well.
Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Police in Guyana are continuing investigations into last week's murder of a prominent doctor. Dr. Colin Roach was found dead at his office, and a prime suspect has been arrested as he attempted to flee the country.
Details are beginning to unravel as to how 43-year-old Dr. Colin Roach was beaten to death on Tuesday last, now that police from the Major Crimes Unit of the Criminal Investigations Department have arrested 19-year-old Hilton Jr. Franklin. Crime Chief Wendell Blanham, in confirming that Franklin is the prime suspect in the doctor's murder, said that Franklin was arrested Friday morning at Berbice, specifically the backtrack route in Berbice. Police say Franklin attempted to flee to Suriname. Nightly News understands that Franklin was well known to Dr. Roach. At one point, he was the doctor's bartender. Franklin, Nightly News understands, up to the time of this report, told police what he knew of the doctor's murder. Details, if revealed by this newscast, could compromise the entire police investigation. We have information that the suspect has reportedly confessed to killing the doctor. This newscast was reliably informed that the murder of Dr. Roach was witnessed by at least 2 others. On Friday, police, acting on information, recovered Dr. Roach's car, which was stolen after he was killed. Roach's vehicle, PXX 4000, was found at Schoonard Road on the west bank of Demerara. Police are set to be reviewing footage from the Demerara Harbour Bridge to get a clearer picture of who the driver of the doctor's vehicle was. That vehicle, however, is being dusted for fingerprints. 3 suspects, including 2 of Roach's employees, who were arrested for questioning, are still in police custody.
The Challenge and Innovation Forum began yesterday in Qatar with the participation of 100 inventors from 38 countries to showcase their innovations. The forum includes a number of competitions, events, and interactive science programs aimed at motivating and encouraging inventors from all over the world.
Ahmed Al-Masri has come from Gaza to Qatar looking for investment. He's invented a robotic glove that's designed to help Palestinian people whose hands are paralyzed through injuries sustained during conflicts with Israel.
I hope we can come out with this as a prototype. I hope if there is any company or any agent can support this project, then we can make multiples of this robotic hand glove and provide it to the patients in Palestine, especially in Gaza. And we have a lot of patients with paralyzed and ambition hands after the ugly war happened there.
Competitors from more than 40 countries are taking part in the first ever Challenge and Innovation Forum in Qatar. Judges will evaluate the best ideas over the next 2 days and award cash prizes for those placed first, second and third. There's up to $250,000 of prize money to be won. Once the winners from here have been chosen, the participants will be divided into teams. They'll then compete to design, build and test an idea from scratch over a 48-hour period. One of the organisers is an inventor himself. He knows firsthand how difficult it is to get investment for new innovations.
Normally, as an inventor, it's very hard to start up your company. So what we are doing here, we bring the inventors and we call a lot of research and startup companies to meet them, and we hope it will be start of a new business for them.
It's hoped this will become an annual event. The winners will be announced in a week's time.
Now looking at sports now, with all eyes on the semi-final stage of the T20 World Cup, England is losing one of their top batters to injury. Jason Roy, he's been ruled out for the rest of the tournament with a torn left calf. He's been replaced in the squad by James Vince, who was one of the two remaining travelling reserves, along with Liam Dawson, and approved by the ICC's Event Technical Committee. Roy suffered the injury during England's defeat in the final Super 12 game. That was against South Africa, first holding the muscle while fielding before pulling up lame with running a single in the 5th over of their chase. He retired hurt with 20 runs off 15 balls and limped off the field with support from the physio and Tom Curran, one of England's substitute fielders. Scans on Sunday confirmed the tear, and it became clear that he would be unable to recover in time to play part in the knockout stages. That's sports. Time now to look at the weather. And as we get that weather ready for you, remember you can continue to watch all of the action from the T20 World Cup on ESPN. That's channel 308 on MCTV. Continue to enjoy the viewing there. Let's go to the weather now. The temperature now is nice and cool. 23.9 degrees Celsius is what it's reading, and it's still cool as far as the apparent temperature goes. 25 degrees Celsius is where it stands. The relative humidity is up today to 84%. It is fair on the outside. The barometric pressure is 1013 millibars, and those winds are coming from the northeast at 24 kilometers per hour. You'll see a high tide this morning at 22 minutes to 8. The low tide will be around, that's 19 minutes to 1 in the afternoon. There will be another high tide at 1 minute to 7 this evening. Those seas are smooth to moderate, and open water swells are between 1 and 1.5 meters and expected to increase. After a few early morning showers today, it will be mostly sunny. And tonight will be mostly clear with a few brief isolated night showers. This is the picture over the Lesser Antilles today and tonight. It will be fair to occasionally cloudy with a few scattered showers. And looking at the international forecast, the sun is actually out in London and Frankfurt today. Still pretty cold on the lower side of things in that part of Germany. Frankfurt getting down to -1. Other than that, it's all in the positive, but still chilly in Montreal, Boston. New York, not too bad. Toronto, you're getting some showers, but getting down to 5 degrees Celsius today. And that's it for the Tuesday edition of the CBC Morning Report. I'm Shane Seeley. Mornin Barbados starts now.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good
Indeed, morning to you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today, Tuesday, November the 9th, 2021. I am Pearson Bowen. So good to have your company here in Barbados and across the globe as well. Thank you for watching us on our YouTube channel and also on our Facebook streams. We want to encourage you always to join and like our page, Mornin Barbados, on Facebook. That's where we post a lot of stuff. You see everything all over again. And we're thankful for all of you who have already joined and liked our page. Just to remind you, with cricket, the ICC T20 World Cup ongoing, for each semi-final game and final, you will hear them live on 94.7, the best 24/7. And at the end of each game, you will have our post-cricket show with Andrew Mason and his crew. So don't forget to tune in to the radio. You get a chance to call in and share your points of view. So that's every day of the semi-final and on the final as well. So we look forward to your interaction on radio. 94.7, the best 24/7. This morning, we'll remind you of some of those top 10 things that parents of newborn babies are so worried about. And you'll be surprised at some of the things, the hiccups and the like sneezing as well. Our pediatrician will walk through with us some of those things to allay our fears and to calm our nerves. This morning as well, we'll hear about those NIFCA Gold movie nights starting this weekend. And the film commissioner will join us and just walk us through what we can expect this weekend. In our real estate agent segment with Sharita Odell, she'll talk to us about tips to consider when you're designing your house plan. You really got to pay attention to this one. I think it's going to be very, very interesting. Let's get started now by looking at the work of this Bajan man. His name is Mark Foster. Mark that name, Mark Foster. He is the man behind EQI Caribbean. Mark Foster, good morning to you.
Good morning to you as well, Pearson. How are you doing?
Mark the name. I'm well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good.
Okay, good. EQI Caribbean, what is it?
EQI Caribbean is an online directory. We also have additional advertising and digital features that goes with it. It's spread across the Caribbean. Each Caribbean territory can actually sign up and they automatically become populated in our directory.
Why did you choose to start EQI Caribbean?
It came out to a little bit of frustration in trying to find service providers. I once wanted to get a quote for something, and it was difficult having to first scroll through all of the providers for that particular service, and then having to contact each of them individually. That kind of built a little bit of frustration for me, and I said, look, I mean, there must be an easy way to do this. So I then started to investigating how to best to go about to create a directory. And then having done that, then it kind of magnified the platform to ensure that each provider never misses an opportunity for a quote. So I've kind of satisfied the problem for the customer who is looking for a service, and also for the provider, he never misses an opportunity to get a quote for his business or service.
You know how we are in the Caribbean, we're very cynical of a lot of things. We figure, let's search for myself. Don't put this in my face, I want to search for myself. So what has been the response thus far for EQI Caribbean?
Well, for everyone who's signed up thus far, they said it's different because you get to manage your own directory listing in your own profile. So on a fly, you can decide I want to change my profession if I wanted to. And I think most persons like that feature. There are no contracts. So you can decide, look, I want to do it this month. I don't want to do it next month. And I think the price point for it, our packages start at $80 Barbados per year. And that has really piqued the interest of most providers thus far.
It's a directory listing. And so with a directory listing, we're going to have categories. Are you confined by the number of categories, or is that simply determined by who signs up to be a part of EQI Caribbean?
Well, we have over 800 categories listed. You can choose your packages. The minimum packages allows you to choose at least 5 different professions, but throughout their entire listing, you can change your profession as you deem fit. It doesn't make a difference which profession you want to choose at any point in time. You can just go in and change it yourself, and it's done.
Change it myself, understand. So I am in control of it. I'm not controlled by you or any of the other people who operate EQI Caribbean.
That is indeed correct. You do have an option. We can manage your directory listing for you, but ideally you are in control of it. Once you hit the save button, persons on the other side of the internet will see what you've posted.
So traffic-wise, how have you been able to monitor the traffic thus far, and what are some of the wonderful comments being made by those who are providing, making themselves available to provide a service on EQI Caribbean?
So for traffic-wise, as a directory on a whole, we see upwards of 1,200 hits per month. But individually from your own directory listing, we have real-time analytics. So as soon as someone goes to your directory, automatically it is noted in your analytics. So you can even test it yourself. You can actually go to your own directory listing and you'll see the analytics take over. If a person clicks on something with regards to your directory listing, if they click on your contact number, your website, they click to make an appointment, the analytics records that, and it's real-time data.
And that's good for any person who operates their business to know how people, my clients, are responding to my service as well. So,
yes.
Help me understand then how we sign up, because there are lots of people watching today and thinking, this sounds like a real great deal. So how can I do so step by step?
So it's pretty easy. So you go to www.eqicaribbean.com. You click packages. You review the packages and choose the one that is best suited for your business. Like I said, we start at $80 Barbados per annum, and it's a 30-day free trial. You get to use 100% of the benefits for the first 30 days. So there's no commitment after the 30 days and you opt not to continue with it. That's it. But if you wish to continue, then it's automatically will invoice you, and upon then you'll start your payment. But you have full autonomy from day one to modify, to change, to anything you want to do with your directory listing.
Now that's the benefit to the service provider. Now we're watching, we're seeing here on our screen, we're looking at the website, and therefore as a service seeker, I just come to the front page as I see here, what do you need is when I key in the word I'm looking for. I'm looking for paint, for instance. I select my country that I'm in, that I want to get this service from, and it searches for me. Is that how it works?
That is correct. That is correct. And it'll give you a listing of all the paint suppliers that are listed with us. And you just click on the one you want. Or if you want to, you can actually go in and you can choose to get a request a quote. Let's say you wanted 10 gallons of blue paint. You put the quote 10 gallons of blue paint, and all the service providers who actually supply paint will get that quotation request, and they then will contact you directly with their quotations. So as a customer, you don't need to register.
I get that service request if I was saying I can only get a service request if I am on EQI Caribbean?
That is correct. You can only get it if you're on EQI Caribbean.
Right. So you're going on to say as customers.
Correct. So as a customer, you have two options. You can actually register with EQI Caribbean as a customer and get more benefits. You actually get a live chat with any of the providers you want. You can also leave reviews. There's also comments for moderation if you want to start a dialogue with regards to a particular topic. So if you register. If you don't wish to register as a customer, you just want to come in and look for a service, it's free to all customers.
I see that one of the tabs on the website says job vacancies. So obviously then it is a portal to which if you're in seek of a job, you can go, and if you have jobs on offer, you can post.
That is correct. So any job, you can put the timeline, you can put the requirements, you can schedule when you want the posting to come up, and it will be populated. Job seekers can go on, look for any available jobs in their territory or throughout the Caribbean.
And talk to me about the ease. I'm a service provider. Talk to me about the ease of being able to populate my space. Do I have to have all the technical knowledge as somebody who's into computing, or can I simply just fill in boxes and voila, it's right there?
No, you just fill the boxes in and voila, it's right there. The only thing we request from you is you do have either a logo or photo to go with your profile. I think it adds value in terms of a presence in the digital world to have that photo. So you populate all the information, you populate your service area. You can go as wide as the entire Caribbean. The world is your oyster with EQI Caribbean.
Well, when I'm done, I'm going to go on myself to eqicaribbean.com and check it out for myself and work through it to see how it works. Now, you're an old boy of the Alexandra School. No,
That is correct.
you know, all of them watch it and say, hey, look at Mark, look at Mark, look at Mark. Would people be surprised to know that Mark is actually doing this?
Yes, my background really is insurance. So for me to go into the digital world and providing a platform, it's something outside of the box for me. So yeah, I think persons will be surprised that I am doing this.
So where's the tug? Which one has the strongest pull on you right now? The insurance or the as an entrepreneur?
It's kind of a bit of a balance now for me. I think the more I started the entrepreneurship, the more I started to like it. It's taken up quite a bit of my personal time, but
Hmm.
I'm seeing the rewards and the benefits of it. I've even gone on to develop even more platforms that I want to introduce as time goes on.
No, I'm very curious. So what are some of those more platforms that you would like to introduce? Just if you don't mind giving us a sneak peek.
Um, so I just started something that I want to introduce to the
Okay.
insurance industry. It's like a database for the insurance companies,
Hmm.
but it's small steps. I'm kind of collecting my data together and I'm working towards. I think that is lacking in the insurance industry at this stage.
Hmm.
So me, with my background with insurance, I would know exactly what we should be looking for in terms of a database. So I've kind of started to put it together and started small conversations and see if it's something that can actually turn into reality for me.
So what do you do for fun? This seems like a very involved, or does it allow you the leisure and the pleasure of having your own time so you can do your own thing?
Well, I think this is what I've started to do will create time for me in the future. Um, I predominantly most of my life I would have played basketball, and I think my days are coming to or have come to an end with regards to basketball. So
So
I'm
say the
into
knees,
technology
right?
now.
Yes, go
I'm
ahead.
into technology now, and I'm loving it.
Oh, that's fantastic. So once again, walk us through. EQICaribbean.com is the portal, is the website. That's the website one time.
That
And once we go there
that is
as a
correct.
service provider, all we need to do is to sign up and start to
That's it. You
populate.
just correct. You just choose the package you want. Like I said, there are no contracts.
Hmm.
So you could decide, look, I just want to test this for 30 days, and you have full autonomy of your directory listing for 30 days. You can make any changes you want. I tell persons to populate it as best as they possibly can. Any information, any minute information they think that can help push their business forward. Just remember, as a service provider, there are other service providers in your field. So you want to make sure you provide the best presentation. If you have any difficulties in setting up your directory listing, we are available to help you through the process. If you wanted us to, we can manage your listing for you. Um, so we've really created an environment that we believe that will add significant value to entrepreneurs out there trying to get ahead now as a result of COVID.
Well, it's a win for everyone. It's a win for you. It's a win for the service provider. It's a win for the service seeker. It's a win all around. And it's one place where we can get to see everything that we're looking for. The beauty of the whole thing as a customer is that if you're seeking a quote on something, all of those who are part of EQI get a chance to bid with you on providing you that service that
That
you're
is
looking
correct.
for. That is such a wonderful thing because in bidding, the lowest or the highest could win. You never know. The point is that you, the client, the
Or
customer, you see you get the benefit.
yeah, or the one who presents best as well.
Or the one who presents best as well. Mark Foster, thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining us. All the best to you with this. As owner of EQI Caribbean, we want to encourage everyone watching today to give it a try. Go visit the website now, eqicaribbean.com. As a provider of a service, you can try it for your 30 days, or as a service, as you seek a service, you can try it today and you can see the benefits, realize them in no time flat. Thank you so much, Mark Foster. All the best with this.
Thank you as well, and stay safe.
Likewise. Morning Barbados will continue right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So we're 14 minutes now to go to the hour of 7 o'clock this Tuesday morning, and this lady who you'll meet next is just 29 years old. She has just written her first book, Kingdom Budgeting for Women. Her name is Tara Mears. Tara, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Barbados.
Thank you so much for joining us, Tara. Tell me a little bit about Kingdom Budgeting for Women.
Well, Kingdom Budgeting for Women, it is my first book. It is a book that seeks to educate women on the principles of budgeting and principles found in the Word of God. It talks about things like saving and investing and sowing. So it is a book really garnered towards to transform their lives. It speaks to them directly. It is in a language that they can understand. And I am really, really passionate about this work of God.
Well, this is great. You know, there are some who are going to watch and say, there it is on your screen. If you're looking for it on your shelves, anywhere on Amazon, Kingdom Budgeting for Women. That's what it looks like. Tara Mears is smiling so beautifully. Tara, they're going to look at you and say, who gives you the right to talk to me about budgeting? What would you say?
Well, I would say I have a background in education. I am a teacher by profession. I am trained in education, and I am currently doing a course with the NTI. But apart from that, I believe that God does things in a specific way. He sends who He wills. I never expected that my first book would be on budgeting, but God does things just like this. But the experience of being a mother, the experience of being a wife, all assisted me and brought me to this point to pen this book.
So, kingdom budgeting. Right away you ask, so what are the principles of kingdom budgeting? What have you found once you've delved through that big book, the Bible, that would guide people into better users of their money?
Well, I have found the most efficient way to handle your money. First, bring it before God. You know, He's the one who gives us every opportunity that we may have. And first, we need to seek Him for clarity, for direction. And then there are principles that we talk about every day that are found in the Word of God. Principles such as sowing, principles such as tithing, principles such as investing, principles such as saving. All of those things are found in the Word of God and are found also in Kingdom Budgeting.
You're almost sounding as though you're saying the more you give, the more you receive. Is that one of the principles on which you're building this?
It is an age-old principle, but yet so effective, yet so true. The more you give, the more you receive. I would have saw, it was a long time ago, I saw a pastor, he did this. If you always have your hands like this, then you can't receive.
Closed.
But if you open them up,
right,
you put yourself put to receive.
You're so right. If your hands are constantly closed and bundled like a fist, then what gets in here? Nothing. Open it up and suddenly things fall into your palms. The blessings will flow. And that's the whole point, because in the more you invest in someone or something, for good of course, the more it comes back to you. And that's the whole beauty of what you're saying. So when I receive my paycheck, you're saying to me, the first thing I do is to say, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God, I've got paid, and this is the amount I've got paid, and not fret about the amount, nor should I fret about the bills, because what's the next step thereafter?
Well, when you receive that paycheck, you say, thank you, God. You are absolutely right. You say, thank you, God. And you ask God for direction, clarity. Is there anything you would go into? Is there anyone you would want me to bless? And God gives you the direction. And after that, there are some practical things that you can employ. Make sure you handle your expenses. Go straight into shopping. Don't go straight into enjoying yourself. Make sure you deal with those things that are ever so important, because God wants you to be wise as well.
Because God is a God of order. And you know, in being wise and exercising your wisdom, you cover the things that ought to be covered first. Those are the most important things. Deal with your most important things first, and then anything else comes thereafter. But there must be a place for humanity, for other people as well. So they must equally be seen as to be important. That's where you're talking about the whole question of giving. Giving, not just simply to receive, because if that is your primary focus, something is a little bit off. But if you're giving because you want to give from all that you have because there's someone else in need, then you see the blessings flow. Am I correct?
That's absolutely correct. I tell people you don't have to have the world of money to give. Your time, you can also give of your time. And now is an excellent time for us to give. COVID is here. Persons have been affected in so many ways. And if we make this a practice, where we give money and we also give of our time, I believe strongly that we will see the fruits of what God wants us to receive.
From your experience and from your delving through the Word, what are some of the examples you've found that you'd like to share with us? You know, some come to my mind, but I want to hear from you. Some of those examples where people have been very frugal in their budgeting, they have been very generous in their giving, but in doing all of this, God has blessed them in significant ways.
One of the stories that I love the Word of God is the story of Joseph. We see the tradition of Joseph from being in his father's house, from saying that he had a dream, from going into the pit, and then ended up inside of the palace. But one of the things that stood out to me in the story of Joseph was when, you know, he was able to decipher Pharaoh's dream. And he said, this is what the dream meant. And Pharaoh said, okay, you are the one I'm going to put in charge of that. And what Joseph did, he deciphered a plan. He came up with a plan of how to handle the items, the expenses, and the running of the kingdom. And he was able to save for a particular time when there was a lot. And then when there was a little, he had a lot there that he could pull from. And so much so that other persons from other lands came to Egypt when there was that time in the land of difficulty. They came to Egypt and they were able to benefit from what he would have set up, that principle of saving.
And that is a principle which we ought to try today. Save. When things are good, save. Don't use the times of good to splurge. Use the time of good to save, because life is a cycle and there's going to come that time when you'll need as well, and that's the whole point. Now, a lot of the strong characters of the Bible also practiced, you know, as you've said before, always turn to God. Talk to God first. Get direction. Don't just assume it on your own, because when you try it on your own, you're heading on a path that is going to lead you to something rather interesting. But you can have so much more joy when you turn to Jehovah God first. True?
I completely agree. And listen, this is something that I have practiced. I listen to God and well. I didn't listen to my. Sometimes we can listen to ourselves and think it is God, but I listen to God, and God tells you those things that are good. And I remember a particular time in my life where a lot of persons were doing a lot of excited things, but I know my finances were not they weren't horrible, but they were not wide. And I decided, okay, I'm going to take some sacrifices. I'm going to make sure that I sow. I'm going to make sure that I give. I'm going to cover my expenses. I'm going to make sure my family is good. And I'm going to make some sacrifices. So it took me some time where I sat out some of the exciting things that persons were doing. And I watched and I found other things to do that were meaningful. So I did drives, you know, that was cost effective. And eventually, by putting those things into place consistently, my finances began to build and build and grow and grow. And God afforded me so many opportunities in doing those things, in being disciplined.
And here he is now. He's moving you to put this all into your book, Kingdom Budgeting for Women. It's not just for women, it's for everyone. And so you're having a virtual launch this weekend. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I am having a virtual launch on Saturday at 6 p.m. It is going to be on Zoom, and it is also going to be streamed on Facebook. So you can find me on Facebook as Tara. You'll see me there. And I'm inviting all women, all men, anyone who wants to attend, listen, this invitation is for you. This is going to change your life because it is the word of God. It is what God intends for you. 6 p.m. virtually on Zoom, and you can also contact me at 845-3825 to get your copy. I have physical copies here in Barbados.
But if we can't get the physical copies because we're overseas watching, how can we order it?
Well, I'm also on Amazon, so you can type in Kingdom Budgeting for Women by Tara Mears, and you have the option of purchasing a physical copy or an ebook copy.
So it's available all over the place in different ways as well. This is fantastic. Only 29 years old. There's so much to rejoice about with you, Tara Mears. You're using your inspiration from God and you have translated it into words in your book. And now you're going to launch this book on Saturday at 6 p.m. online. It's a virtual, either on Zoom or you can watch it on the Facebook page, Tara Mears on Facebook, from 6 in the evening. And in this launch, what can we expect?
Well, in this launch, we're going to have that question and answer time where persons can ask me some questions, things that are on their heart, burning questions concerning budgeting, and we'll be sure to answer you. So you can tune in, and I'm promising you it's going to be the event of a lifetime because I am so passionate about it. I know that it is ordained from God. So I want everyone to tune in.
This is fantastic. You never saw yourself walking this road of being an author, right?
I had no clue, no plan. It wasn't what I thought I would be doing. But God knows best.
That is the point I wanted to hear you say. God knows best. And because God knows best, one must submit to what we know that God knows is best. And we will see the benefits flow, because here it is, at 29 years old, you've written your book, you're now going to be having that virtual launch, you are in a position now to help others, and being able to respond to questions in that launch live on Saturday at 6 p.m. on Facebook, Tara Mears, or on Zoom. And of course, all of that information, if you want to see how to get the passcodes to the Zoom link, we can see it on your Facebook page, all right?
Yes. That's
Tara,
completely right. You can,
yes. So you'll see it there,
yes.
but we will post it on our Facebook page as well here in Morning Barbados, so people can come back and see it, because I know time is as it is for a lot of people. But because it is, I want you to put it in note your calendars, everybody. On Saturday evening at 6, we will want to be a part of the virtual launch of the book, Kingdom Budgeting for Women. Is available for every gender. It is not limited to just women, because the principles are principles upon which each of us can benefit. And it's on Saturday at 6 p.m. Tara Mears on Facebook or on Zoom. Look for the links and we will be happy to join with you. Tara, I could only wish you the very best and God's blessings really as you journey through this. I'm looking forward to your next publication, quite frankly. And should God spare life, we'll have you right back here on Morning Barbados. All right? All the best.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Isn't this fantastic news on a Tuesday morning? Bajans doing great things and benefiting in significant ways. We're taking a break here and we're back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's a minute and a half after 7. Let's get the news. Here's Shane Seeley.
Thank you, Pearson. Here's your 7 a.m. headline news, and we hear that the national vaccination rate is now moving at snail's pace, creeping towards the 50% mark, with many Barbadians still refusing to get a COVID-19 vaccine. And there are reports that some people are changing their mind last minute about getting the jab. It's an issue that is proving to be somewhat of a problem for the volunteer mobile vaccine unit, according to the coordinator, Dr. Hilary Moore.
We've also been having some challenges where people say they want the vaccine, we arrive to give them the vaccine. We've actually had some of their younger relatives bar us from going into the homes to the older people. We've also had some people that, we will call, we're on our way, we call the day before, no problems. When we, on the actual day, we call to say we're on our way, then they change their mind for whatever reason. And this is then putting a lot of spokes in the wheels because, you have a plan, you're going to do a certain amount a day, then you're ending up not doing that amount. You end up with extra vaccines that you may not necessarily use, and we can't put them back in the bottle. So you're ending up having to discard.
Dr. Moore has been giving an update on the work of the mobile units program, describing a situation which points to a clear slowdown in the vaccination drive.
We actually were operating earlier this year, and we had done quite a lot earlier this year, and then we disbanded. But now that we're back, I think we are just above 100 and something. Remembering that we are literally driving to different people's homes to give them their vaccines and to give them their cards and wait a bit and all these different things. So it does take a while. It's different like when you're at a center where you can vaccinate a lot of people. Take it from me, getting the injection isn't a long period. It is doing all the aftercare and the cards and stuff like that. That does take a lot of time. So we've done just over 100 or so, and we would like to do more.
Local health authorities will soon be armed with more tracking bracelets as they aim to clamp down on breaches in home isolation. Consultant manager of the program, Dr. Adana Grandison, explains while the minority of people in home isolation are responsible for these breaches, it's a situation which is receiving their urgent attention.
We are still in the process of acquiring some of those additional tags at this point in time, but I think at the current moment we have just over 200, and I know that this weekend we were supposed to get an additional 200 tags onto the island, but we have been banning and removing quite often some of the actual persons who have met criteria for the electronic monitoring bans.
Meanwhile, Barbados recorded under 200 new COVID-19 cases for the first time in weeks. After a streak of daily positives in the 200s, 300s, and even 400s, there were 196 cases identified by the Best dos Santos Public Health Lab. However, the lab only conducted 1,163 tests on Sunday. The new positives include 82 males and 114 females, comprising 43 individuals under the age of 18. There are now 915 people in isolation facilities and 6,780 people in home isolation. The target may not be reached for a recent proposal by the International Monetary Fund to make billions of dollars available for climate action to low and middle income countries. The suggestion is coming from the minister in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs and Investment, Marcia Cadell. She was taking part in the first high-level ministerial dialogue on climate finance in Glasgow as part of COP26. While some $50 billion in special drawing rights, or SDRs, has been allocated by the IMF, Minister Cadell suggests what is really needed is $500 billion.
When we take a proportion of those annual issuances of SDRs, in the first instance it could be over 3 years, and then we do a review. But that will give any investor in mitigation or adaptation projects the right to borrow at the overnight interest rates of countries whose currencies make up the SDR, which are currently, those interest rates are currently near zero. And to roll over this borrowing for as long as the project continues to deliver some minimum rate of reduction in greenhouse gases, or increase in adaptation per dollar invested.
And the Caribbean Development Bank has called on the international community to deliver on commitments made as the world has fallen short regarding climate targets. President Dr. Jean Leon, during a presidency event at COP26, stressed confidence must be built for the future.
We must rapidly work towards establishing a more ambitious climate finance target to take effect starting in 2025, especially because the world appears on track for reaching 2.7 degrees Celsius of warming, which would result in an intensification of the risks small island developing and vulnerable states are already confronting. With only 25% of flows so far going to adaptation, and with priorities in national developed contributions overwhelmingly emphasizing adaptation needs, seeds are falling behind.
And that's our 7 a.m. headline news. I'm Shane Seeley. Back to you, Pearson.
All right, Shane, thank you. Our time is 7.5 minutes after 7 o'clock. Still to come, tips to consider when you are drafting your house plans. Plus, we'll tell you about that movie night at the National Cultural Foundation. Those movie nights really this weekend. Much more straight ahead. We're back after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So it's 10 past the hour now. Time for you to call. You know what happens, right? 228-5562 or 228-5563, because here comes today's Crumbs question of the day. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Call, talk to me, and then you get a chance to answer. The question today is, how many days in advance do you need to place an order at Crumbs Bakery? How many days in advance do you need to place an order at Crumbs Bakery? How many days in advance? Good morning to you. Hello. Oh, you're gone. You're frightened. You hear the question and you put on the phone. 228-5562 or 228-5563. How many days in advance do you need to give when you're placing an order at Crumbs Bakery? Yes, see who you are. Good morning. Hello.
Morning, Pearson. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm all right. 2 to 3 days.
I know. So where are you watching us from?
St. John.
St. John. Where exactly in St. John are you?
Bath.
In Bath. Do you know Mary Thomas?
Thomas? No.
You know Mary? But you can't be living in Bath then.
So many people live out here now.
Like a city now. How long have you been? How long have you been living in Bath, St. John now?
A long time.
Like more than 10 years?
Yes.
What makes that area so beautiful for you?
The sea breeze.
Yeah, like at least all day long you're cool, right?
Yes, please.
But you know the sea breeze also brings that sea spray, and that sea spray also brings rust and all those
Yes.
kinds of things. You have that
Yes.
challenge?
No, I know you're rustling thing. No.
But you also you live on the incline, so you have that view of the sea.
No, on the hillside.
Right,
I
that's
don't
what I
get
mean.
You get the sea spray. I know it's sea spray, so you go out to like 3-4 miles inward, right? But I think the people that live on the border side is more get the sea spray. Hear them complain. They want to live near to the
Than
sea,
you.
right? Yeah.
Right. What's your first name?
Pardon?
What is your first name?
Cynthia, C-Y-N-T-H-A-E.
I can spell it all, Cynthia. You gotta spell it for me. But it is such a wonder meeting you this morning, Cynthia. Do I know you?
No.
Well, you sound as though you know me, but anyhow, that's good to hear. Cynthia, you said how long? How many?
2 to 3
What's
years.
your? And where you got that answer from?
I hear that already. I think I
You heard it
that
where?
already.
You heard it where?
I hear Santa Crumbs all the time.
You go to Crumbs?
No, I hear that on the radio thing already.
Okay, you've never been to Crumbs, and so perhaps this is your
I went
first
to
time now,
Crumbs.
right?
No, I always go to Crumbs.
Why do you choose to go to Crumbs?
I like the banana bread.
Girl, you're talking my kind of thing here. So you don't bake, you can't bake, Cynthia.
Yes, but I don't really worry with the baking though. The only thing I bake is corn. I bake corn, but not cassava corn, but not the banana bread and stuff.
Girl, you're talking good food here. But you are absolutely right, Miss Cynthia. You know, if you're looking for anything, as my boy Sir Don would have said, ask Cynthia. Well, Cynthia, you got it right. 2 to 3 days is absolutely right. Thank you so much for calling. Stay on the phone, Cynthia, don't put down. Cynthia lives at Bath and St. John, and Cynthia was right. So now, if you want anything right, ask Cynthia. Congratulations to her indeed. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we look at those top 10 things that parents of newborn babies worry about most when in our pediatric care. Stand by.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So we're 15 minutes after 7 o'clock. If there's one doctor we love to see, it is Dr. Gillian Birchwood. Dr. Birchwood, good morning to you. Dr. Birchwood.
How are you doing
She's
today?
a pediatrician, and of course, and she'll be joining. There you are. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. I was hiding for just a minute, but I'm here now.
And we fished you up, brought you forward. That's good to see you indeed. Now, today we want to look at those top 10 things that parents of newborn babies worry most about. So where do we start?
Well, you know, it's very common for parents to worry about every little thing with their newborn baby. And this is really mainly because they don't have, you know, they haven't had a baby before, or they are not sure what to do. It's completely natural for parents to worry. So there's certain things that parents over and over again will talk about when they are concerned about their baby. So I'm just going to pull up my list quickly here. And one of the first things is my baby feeding enough? How will I know? That's definitely the most asked question that I get, whether the baby is breastfeeding or whether the baby is formula feeding. Every mother and father want to make sure their baby is eating enough so their baby can grow and develop.
Right.
Well, if you have a breastfeeding mom, in the very beginning, she's not going to produce much milk. And so this is a great source of worry for her. And how will she know? Well, first of all, the baby will be satisfied. Any hungry baby will not be in doubt. That baby is going to make so much noise, the whole hood is going to know that that baby wants more food. And so you can tell, first of all, by your baby's degree of satisfaction. And that is really the number one thing that will tell you. The second thing is looking at how much urine and stool your baby is passing. So in the very beginning, on the first day or two, your baby doesn't pass much urine or stool. But after that, you will start to see a gradual increase, and that baby should be having regular wet pampers. And in the first month of life, they should be having regular stools as well. So that's another way to know. If your baby is hardly passing any stool or hardly passing urine, then it's quite possible that something is wrong. For formula-fed babies, then, that is a little easier from parents' point of view, but sometimes parents will overfeed. So a very newborn baby will take anywhere between about 1.5 ounces to about 3 ounces. And again, the baby should not be made to finish. If the baby doesn't want to finish, they should leave a little bit back in the bottle, and they should also be satisfied. So don't overfeed and say, oh my gosh, you left behind half an ounce, you've got to take it, which is a very common tendency. So that's the one thing.
Wouldn't the baby be able to show you that it's had enough, its stomach is full, like pull away from the bottle or something to indicate, right?
Yes, they absolutely do. So both breastfed and bottle-fed babies will clamp their little gums down when they've had enough, and they will come off, and no amount of coaxing will pry that mouth open.
So true. And then one of the things that a lot of parents tend to worry about too is hiccups. Oh, to watch a baby hiccup and see that little chest just have those convulsions, it is scary.
Yes. So hiccups happen in babies even before they're born. Very often mothers will feel that little twitching movement inside the abdomen when they are pregnant. Yes, and so hiccups happen long before birth, and it's a very normal thing for babies to have hiccups. So all hiccups is a twitching of the diaphragm muscle that is between the chest and the abdomen. It's a twitching, and at the same time, the baby's vocal cords close. So you get the sound and the jerk.
Right.
So I always tell parents hiccups are extremely dangerous for parents, but not for babies. Babies are usually quite happy when they have the hiccups, and they're just lying there looking peaceful because they're really accustomed to having hiccups from long before they were even born. So they're nothing to worry about.
But what do I do? You hear, put a matchstick in the hair, something like that. Do something, because it's a very uncomfortable sight. So do I do anything, or do I just let the baby hiccup until it's done?
Yes, there's so many little remedies that you will see on the internet, and so many things have been passed down. Yes, I've heard that matchstick one lots of times before. But the truth is, you can either leave the baby alone, because most times the babies are very peaceful, or you can give them a pacifier, because sometimes the sucking movement will help to settle the twitching in the diaphragm. Or you can put them back to breast or give them a small amount of formula, and sometimes that will help. And of course, burping your baby at regular intervals when you're feeding them can help to prevent hiccups in the first place, especially if you keep them upright. That can be helpful.
What's going on there, though, when the baby's hiccuping? Is it growing? Is that a sign of growth? What's really going on?
Well, funny that you should ask, because they have found recently that they think it's actually a way of helping the baby to develop. I'm not sure exactly how that would help the baby to develop, but they found a correlation between hiccups and baby's development. But it's not very clear why, and we do know it definitely happens from before babies are even born. So the take-home message is not to worry about hiccups. They are not going to cause any serious harm to baby in the vast majority of cases.
You said we should start to see the baby stooling very early in its development as well, but sometimes it seems to have a little bit of a strain while doing so. What's going on?
Yes, this is another common concern. When babies are first born, during those first couple of weeks of life, the parents just hear loud explosions in the pamper and they know what's happening. But as babies get older, around a month of age or so, their body starts to change. And so they pass stool less often. It doesn't mean they have less stool, they just pass it less often. And so they have a larger amount of stool. So no longer do they just have a simple explosion and everything comes out. Now they have to actually figure out how to get the stool out. So you'll see them twitching and moving around and looking all uncomfortable and grunting because they simply don't know what to do when they have that sensation. And eventually they learn to strain and cry and fret, and then the stool comes out. So it's a natural transition, and it's how they're actually learning how to pass stool. And you'll see them do that as well when they're passing gas. It's the same movement they literally have to learn how to do. So that also is not worrisome.
So do you say, oh, well done, little one? Do you congratulate them on successfully
when they finally get it
navigating?
out?
Yes.
You have to provide encouragement.
Of course. Now, another thing, and this is the one that scares me a lot, the soft spot at the head, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, is it a hole there somewhere that needs to be closed? What's going on there?
Well, it does sound absolutely terrifying, when you have that soft spot there. And so actually, if you really think about it, babies in general are designed to handle the rigors of labor. And during labor, the baby's head is designed to completely squash as they are coming out. And the reason why that soft spot is there, it's a gap in the multiple bones that make up the baby's head, so that there's space for those bones to move around to allow the head to literally reshape and squash during the process of birth. And so babies' heads are incredibly tough. I always tell parents, to go through labor, I'd have to put you to lie down and roll a steamroller over you every 3 minutes, and you see how that feels. But when a baby's born, they're in good shape and they're just fine. So the soft spot serves a purpose and is actually very tough. And it slowly closes as the baby gets older, but it's remarkably tough. I wish they wouldn't have called it the soft spot because it causes a lot of fear in parents, but it's completely tough and it's really virtually impossible to damage that area.
Does it hurt? I want to touch it first of all. Does it hurt?
No, it doesn't hurt. It's part of the newborn examination. When you're checking a baby, you will definitely touch that area and other areas of the baby's skull. And if you look at the baby, you'll see the baby doesn't even move. So it's definitely not painful for the baby. Another one of those things that's just painful for parents.
Thank you for laying my fears. The other part that makes me cringe somewhat when you look at the belly button. And you see, that where the bruising was and the blood has clotted and those kinds of things. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, is it infected? So how do we deal with that part of it, the cord?
So the cord does not have any nerves in it. So it's literally impossible to feel pain in the cord. It's sort of like your hair. If I were to take somebody's hair and cut it, it's not going to be painful. They might only cry if the hairstyle looks bad, but it's not painful. The same thing for the cord. Has no nerves in it, and so therefore there's no pain. So that area you can clean it with this surgical alcohol, which is what we recommend. It's not going to sting. It's going to dry up and drop off all by itself. So that's another one of those things. You can handle it. It's really not going to be painful at all for the baby.
Okay, so getting it wet, while you're bathing and that kind of thing is not a problem.
No, I mean, that's a very common practice in the Caribbean that we'll bathe our babies, but it does no harm to them as long as you allow it to dry out afterward and you keep that cord outside the pamper so that it can dry off properly.
Listen, maybe it's me wasting your time, but I mean, not wasting your time, but wasting the time because we have still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas to cover. Do you mind if we continue this next week?
Sure. No problem.
So we've covered 5 areas. Folks, we look at the top 10 things that you parents, newborn babies, you worry most about. We've covered 5. We'll continue the other 5 next week, should God spare life. Dr. Birchwood, thank you so much for joining us this morning. At least we're smiling because we know, nothing to worry about. And if there's a worry, we should check our pediatrician, right?
Yes, make sure you just get some advice to allay your fears.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you so much, Dr. Birchwood.
You're welcome. Have a great day as always.
Likewise. Thank you so much. And there we go. So next week, God's Spare Life, will continue with the other 5 top 10 things that most parents of newborn babies tend to worry most about. And we'll certainly put your mind at rest. 26 minutes after the hour, we're taking a break here. We're coming back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So, it's movie nights coming up this weekend with the National Cultural Foundation. Joining us to talk a little bit more about it is Annette Nias, who's a film commissioner with the National Cultural Foundation. Annette, good morning to you.
Good morning. Morning, Pearson. Good morning, Barbados.
Thank you so much for joining us. This weekend is going to be blockbuster in the car park of the NCF. Talk to me, what can we expect?
So this weekend, it's NIFCA Film Video's way of commemorating this year's 55th anniversary of independence, as well as our journey to becoming a republic.
So there's some films that we'll see on Saturday and on Sunday, but it's almost like a drive-in. Is it going to be like a drive-in situation?
Right. So as you know, with the pandemic, it's not really comfortable to do face-to-face. So we're having 2 movie nights this coming Saturday 13th and Sunday 14th November in the NCF car park. We'll be showing most of the NIFCA Gold Award winning films from across the year since it started in 2001. So quality film.
Quality films when we sit on our cars in the car park of the NCF, but you need to reserve your car space. It's not a case of, hey, you just turn up and you're suddenly accommodated. There's a control in place.
Bookings may be done by going to www.ticketlinks, that's TICKETLINKZ.com.
Right, and reserve your space.
And you reserve your car space. Admission is free to the public. We're not selling tickets, but you have to reserve a vehicle space.
And this vehicle so therefore it's not selling to the public, then whatever number of people who can be accommodated in a vehicle will be accommodated.
Right, and once the capacity is full, then we stop selling. Then we stop giving away the passes.
So I'm trying to figure out, based on the location, how the layout of the land, so to speak, at the NCF. I see the car park, it's a vast car park. I'm trying to figure out where the screen will be in relation to the road.
Right, so we erect a large LED screen against the warehouse, which has a mural on it, because we're famous for the mural on West Terrace Main Road, and that's where the screen will be, and the cars will face that way.
So if I drive by, I can still see it.
Yeah, but you have to have the FM transmission in your car. So it's a real drive-in.
Oh, I get it now. I get it. So you're having a real drive-in experience on Saturday and Sunday.
And we're not actually encouraging people to come with chairs and so on because of the current situation. So all protocols will be enforced, and people are expected to stay within the bubble of their car.
I'm glad you've said that, because somebody's going to try to break the rules, and so we're saying no, don't come with your seating. No, you have to come in your car. It's a driving experience, and when you're there, you're going to be watching the screen. You have you tuned to the right frequency so you hear what's happening and enjoy some of the NIFCA Gold throughout the years. Can you give us a taste of some of those films we'll be seeing? Because each night we'll have different films. Can you break down some of them?
Each night there'll be different films, and there'll be a mixture of genres, music videos, short fiction, full-length features, documentaries, most of them short, and there'll be at least 2 full-length feature fiction films.
Oh, nice. So how many hours can we spend comfortably in the car park, you think?
So doors open at 4 p.m. The shows start at 5 p.m. and end at 8 p.m. sharp. As you know, our curfew begins at 9, so patrons have at least 1 hour to make their way home.
That's right. So if you're in St. Lucie, you can still make it. We're not that far away. Come on down to the NCF's car park. Reserve the car space by going to ticketlinks.com and reserve your space. Refreshments on sale. After all, it's a driving experience. Refreshments will be on sale. Is Annette there?
Yes, I can't hear you very well, but I can see.
I'm so sorry. I was asking whether or not refreshments will be on sale.
Refreshments will be on sale.
Boy, that's good. So
persons are expected to wear masks and follow the protocols when they're out of their cars.
Is this something I should bring my under 10s to, for instance, those who are under 10 years old?
Okay, so the films are PG and general, parental guidance and general. There are no R or 18 plus films. All general or parental guidance.
So pretty much the whole family can still come and watch.
The whole family can, yes. Yes.
That's fantastic. But it's so critical, everybody watching today, to be a part of this. The movie Nifka Gold Movie Nights starting Saturday, continuing Sunday. You need to reserve your car space. So I urge you now to go to ticketlinks.com and register your car. And in registering, I know how Ticket Links, they give some kind of code that you will bring to you guys at the door, and basically the entrance, and you just invite me in.
Yes.
All right, so it's going to be very orderly. It's going to be a
well,
one.
it's intended to be an easy process for patrons.
That's great. So, folks, this is where we're going this weekend. We are going on Saturday. We're going again on Sunday because each night will be different shows to the NCF's car park in West Terrace to see past NIFCA Gold Award-winning films from the comfort of our vehicle. To be able to do so because it's absolutely free, but we must book our vehicle space at ticketlinks.com. No seating is allowed outside of the vehicle. We must stay in our vehicle in our masks so that we continue to respect the protocols. No one is encouraged to bring a folding chair. Nope, you will stay within your cars. You cannot sit on the boundaries. You can't do anything like that. And while they have that true drive-in experience and enjoy some of the best movie nights and the movies that are created right here by us, on our screens with some music videos in between as well. Annette Nias, Film Commissioner with the National Cultural Foundation, thank you. I really hope that the car park is full each night and that people really get a chance.
I think we're on our way to being full. Thank you so much.
It seems that way. You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You're welcome indeed. So, movie nights, everybody, Saturday and Sunday in the car park of the National Cultural Foundation. Reserve your car space. Ticketlinks.com. We're coming back with more after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Tuesday morning, time to us to delve into the whole business of real estate with the real estate agent, one and only Agent Sharita. Good morning, Agent Sharita.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello to you too. And so we're at the stage now of designing our home plan. And you know, we love what we want to do. We've decided last time we were going to buy. We're not going to buy now, we're going to build. And so as a natural consequence, we're going to design the plan. What are some of the things that we need to start paying attention to when we design our home plan?
Well, first off, don't make the mistake of designing your home before you have the plot of land. Many people do that. Yes, they often say, oh, I love this design. I saw this. This is what I want. And then when they find the land that they love, that spot might have, you know, some elevation. It might be a bit more narrow than what the house is prepared for. So always find the land first, then design the house. So that's step number one.
In finding that land, do I have to pay attention to the depth, for instance, before I hit ground rock, so that I know that, just to get a sense of my cost of excavation and so forth?
Yes, I always encourage, nothing wrong with getting test holes, which is a simple technique used to kind of figure out the approximate depth at certain areas of the land. If you're in a subdivision and you look around and you realize, okay, all the houses are there and they seem in good order, it is likely that, you know, your plot might be fine. You might not have to go down too deep. But sometimes you just don't know. And for peace of mind, it's good to find that out because you don't want to spend more in the ground than above ground.
You got that right. So location is going to be important because, and in designing the house, whether I'm designing for a corner lot and the space between my house and somebody else's house, all of those things have to be built into consideration in location.
Yes, and also in terms of what you like. If you're a morning person, building under the side of the hill is not going to work out because when the sun rises from the east, for example, you're going to miss. Yeah, you're going to miss all that sunshine in your house. So people don't think about these things. Sometimes they look at land and say, perfect. But in terms of, making you feel whole and at peace for the rest of your life,
yes,
location is critical. Whether you want it close to the beach, whether you want it closer to amenities, of course, that plays a role before the actual design goes into play.
And of course, the size of the land as well. Now, you say also we need to pay attention to the direction of the house. What do you mean?
Some houses I have gone into and I have felt like I have entered a vampire's lair. Why? Because they built the house in a direction which did not accommodate light. Now we know the sun rises from the east, sets in the west. Most of you like to, wash your dishes and feel the rays coming through on you. But if the house is positioned at an angle that the sun is to the back of you, your house can end up being very dark. So even in terms of position, you want to set up your house where your bedrooms are in the most private, peaceful area, not in blasting sun when the sun rises. And perhaps your kitchen takes most of the brunt when the sun is up. And the patio now can enjoy the evening when the sun is going down. So you always position yourself.
Do I have to take into consideration too the wind direction? Because while we think the wind is all around us, there are certain directions primarily in which the wind comes, and nothing bothers me more than a very hot house and the wind is blasting elsewhere.
There was a house, Pearson, that I had to make sure I showed only at 9:30 in the morning because you would swear that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were shacking up in there. It was vicious. It was vicious. My arms were struggling. The reality is that all has to do with ventilation. Ventilation, you want to make sure you have enough exposures, essentially meaning put in windows. Don't be frightened to put in windows. You could put in a lot. And make sure you set up that house too, so that the breeze is coming into those areas where you will be the most. Living room and kitchen, those are the most frequented places. And of course, you want a bedroom that you could sleep in comfortably. Yes. So you have to ensure those are set up so the wind can take maximum advantage.
One of the other things too, you're so right, is basic structure and size. You don't want to make the house too big. And you don't want to make the house design your house in such a convoluted way that it doesn't flow somehow either.
Bajans, I can lash you, you can bad talk me, I don't care. Stop building these big houses. Stop building these big houses that do not have a nice flow. It is not about being a house being big for it to be comfortable. It's just about the flow. Simple things like have an open plan living and dining area. Even if you don't want to go the full way where the kitchen is open plan, because let's be honest, y'all have messy kitchens. I see them. You create it in such a way that the kitchen is slightly off to the side, but the flow is still open so the light and ventilation get through there. You can also even consider sometimes having an upside down concept. That means that you might have, if you have a 2-story property, some persons have, and it's a split level or a terraced plot of land, you can actually consider having the bedrooms downstairs and the living area upstairs. So that from the living room, where you're going to spend most of your time, you might see the ocean, the views, and so forth. And remember, bedrooms are just for mainly about 8 hours of sleep.
True. It's not for living, it's for just sleeping primarily. And then we have to take into consideration while we're building or designing our home, the lifestyle that we want to adopt, our lifestyle we're having, that we want to be able to cater to. We want to be able to consider, the budget and the furniture, a number of other areas as well.
You know that you're a Limer person. So why have you built your property with no patio?
Yes.
No gazebo. No area for a barbecue. Persons often think about that after the fact, but if your lifestyle is that, lifestyle trumps everything else. If you know that you are a baby maker, National Baby Maker of the Year, even if you have only designed for a 2-bedroom house, set up that house in such a way that you have room to the back that you could, add on some rooms as time goes by. So those are, you have to think about what you like. If you like gardening, why you got everything concreted off? and then studying, I'm not going to get to what I love.
Yes.
You have to design the house around what makes you happy.
And the National Baby Maker of the Year. that one caught my breath. Indeed, I love that. And of course, furnishing and furniture, all that is going to be important as well, because, you can have a big space and there's this little tiny stool in the corner. It just looks obzocky, as we say in Barbados, So bear those things in mind, I suppose, as well.
I'm going to share lashes again, Pearson. And I know today is the day that my name gets dragged. But let's stop this thing where we have nothing wrong with having small, intimate living rooms. But why do you have to buy the biggest couch set, the thickest couches, and a three-piece set? To stick in there, there's no rule that you must have a three-piece set if you have a small living room. Get furniture that is just as lean so it doesn't constrict the size of the property.
I am with you.
I'm a minimalist. This is a pet peeve of mine.
I am with you on that whole thing. So take that into consideration when designing the floor space. All of that is going to be very, very critical. The furnishings, how you actually use this floor space, so we can all be comfortable and we don't have a highly cluttered environment. Because I love space. I'm one of those kinds of people. You could walk through, things could run through my place, because I like space. I don't want to see things all around me feeling so claustrophobic. And then the budget. The budget is also going to be important. You don't set yourself that dream and then you find yourself finding it difficult to realize that dream.
Now that's it. Let's be honest. We all have our dream property in mind. Nothing wrong with that. But how much coins you got in your pocket? Let's start there first.
Yes.
Take out the coins, find how much you have to play with, and then the design has to be incorporated using that. Otherwise, you can depress yourself, going for big, going for great, going for grandeur, and then you're struggling because you have your mortgage, and not only the budget is busted at that time, but then what about future costs? Because you have put so much into extra rooms and so forth, and guess what? There's AC in each of those rooms.
Yes.
There's going to be a cost. Insurance cost is going to be higher the bigger the house is.
Yes.
So don't just look at, I want my dream property, but what is it going to cost you right now and in the future?
Point taken, Miss Agent Sharita. These are great points, folks. If you want to know more, call her. She's the agent, the only agent. 233-8888, 233-8888. I said again, 233-8888. Barbados Real Estate 246 on social. And indeed, Agent Sharita, should God spare life, will be back again next week, Tuesday, for more of your wisdom when it comes to real estate. Thank you so much for joining us.
Take care, Pearson. Good seeing you.
You too as well. Agent Sharita on a Tuesday morning. What a wonderful way to start your day. Now, pandemic fitness, that's what we're about right now. And you know me, I'm going to stay right here because over there is Wendy Burke, who's with Thornwood, our fitness instructor, Mr. Califit 246. Let's see what they're up to. Let's take a look.
And we're back. It's time to get fit. I'm here with Thornwood, and he's going to be taking me through some paces, I hope not races, and I'll still be alive by the end of it. Morning to you, Thorn.
Good morning, Wendy. Good morning, Barbados. I hope you guys are ready to get fit. First, we're going to start with some of the questions I put on my Instagram every week. I'm just asking people, what are some of the things that are stopping you from reaching your fitness goals and stuff like that. So we're going to start with these three responses. So one person said consistency. Now, the thing about consistency, and I think that I meet with most of my clients when they come to me, is that before they came to me, they're not very cognizant of what is going on in your life. You have a fitness goal, and you tell yourself, what, I want to lose 10 or 20 pounds, but you're not taking into consideration, well, I got to pick up the kids at this time, I got to get to work at this time, and that kind of stuff, but you do want to hit your goal. But so to people like that, I say start in small increments, start and set smaller goals so that, and then the consistency will come after that. If you set a large goal, spoke this with Pearson before, if you set a huge goal without being cognizant of where you're at in your life, then it can be very demoralizing when you
So
don't hit those
tiny
goals.
steps all the way.
Tiny steps all the way, tiny steps all
But
the
you'll
way.
achieve the goal eventually.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
So Randy, let me ask you a question. What do you think is stopping you from reaching your fitness goals?
Me. Plain and simple, me.
You.
Time, energy, so much to do with home.
Right.
Work hours.
Right.
And when I do find that window to do it, by then I'm just so exhausted having done all the other things that I'm not there. I need to get my midsection back to where it used to be. Sucking in isn't going to work forever, but you know, you try, you do little things every now and again, and I tell people that I probably collect the most exercise things out. I buy the stuff and then I end up either giving it away or selling it or whatever, but I hardly make use of it at home because I can't do the self-motivation exercise thing. I either have to have a trainer or a gym buddy to really push me that extra. Because if you leave Wendy alone to do it, trust me, it's not happening. I remember I had one of those ab machines. It ended up being a rack for the clothes if it rains. You know, so I eventually just gave it away because it was like, that's somebody who's a little more motivated than me. Yeah,
I'm glad
let it to it.
Personal word is to try.
Yeah.
Right? So you like I said, you start in smaller increments, and you sound like you're very aware of where you're at. And as a trainer, you need to be, you know, with the client, you need to be aware of where they're at as well, and try to help to design the program in a way that you help them with their current lifestyle. You gotta be cognizant of that. Everybody can't just jump on ahead to the gym or get a trainer and stuff like that. So you gotta make it in a way that is palatable for that person's lifestyle so they can achieve it.
What about the limits? What about being pushed beyond my limits? Because, like, say I'm asthmatic and I might only be able to do so much cardio before it starts to become a burden. As a trainer, how would you, you know, treat to someone like that? You know?
So that's why assessment is important, initial assessment before any kind of exercise. You need, because in order for you to grow, in order for you to get better, there needs to be some form of progression. And in order to create some form of progression, you need to know where a person is at initially so that you can either scale it in a way that they don't feel like, oh my God, it's overwhelming. However,
or you're trying to kill me.
Exactly. However, there needs to be a level of challenge towards what you're doing. So there will be days when you're going to feel great. Yeah, I'm smashing this workout. And there are going to be other days when it's going to be, yo, this is absolutely hard. I can't believe that. And I tell my clients, the days when you feel like it's the hardest, that's when I'm pushing you, and that's when you're moving on to the next level. Because we've reached the point where
at our breakthrough point.
Exactly, we're at our breakthrough point. Right?
Awesome.
So it has to happen, but after assessment, I'm a firm believer in initial assessment for like cardiovascular fitness, for muscular endurance, your overall strength, because that's how your body tells me what it can and cannot do.
Okay.
Right?
So if I say at the end of it, I'm only able to lift a 5-pound dumbbell.
Yeah, we work you out to lifting those hundreds, Wendy, man.
Okay. I thought you were going to reject me straight off the mark and say, I'm not wasting time training her.
We spent some time working on your strength and obviously your muscular connection, and we get your strength up there. You know, you don't want to stay at 5 pounds.
Yeah, because that microphone and that stick, after a while, that weight, no, seriously speaking, people think, oh, you just put the mic out there and interview people and it's easy peasy. But the weight of that metal in your hand, on your wrist, after a while, and if the subject you're interviewing speaks for longer than 7 minutes, you feel the tension.
Yeah. So the second response I got was that the person was saying that they end up overdoing. So they try to do so much, right? They try to do so much, and funny enough, that goes back to the same thing I said initially. If you overdo, like anything else, if you do too much work, if you do too much of anything, you just end up feeling burnt out. And then even for the things that you like, you end up feeling like, yo, I don't really want to do this anymore, because then it starts to feel like a chore.
Yes.
Be cognizant of where you're at, guys. I'm not saying to use that as a crutch to say, oh, well, I can go and do sit-ups because I have all these things to do. I'm saying, well, my father said this to me, like when your brain is in a sense of I can't, then it stops working and trying to figure out ways to solve the problem. But even if you're in a situation where it feels impossible and you're thinking, okay, well, I can get this done, then things start to come up to you as, okay, well, maybe I can do 10 minutes here. Maybe I can do 5 minutes here. Maybe I can take my kid and do some squats with my kid.
I'm glad you said kid, because that's when you should switch back to that childhood mode with the little train.
Exactly.
I think I can. I know I can.
Exactly.
And you just push through like that.
100%.
Yep.
So, Mandy, what we can do this morning, we can do some core exercises. I'm sorry, but you gotta put your hands on the ground.
Oh, dear.
You get off of the ground with me, right?
Oh, dear.
So, we're gonna do some plank variations. Some other super simple.
Music might motivate me more.
We gotta bring a speaker next time for you.
Yeah.
So we can do some plank variations, right? The first one we're gonna do on the floor. Get in your full plank position.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm on my knees.
Yeah. All right. And you go in full plank position.
My arms are here.
Yeah.
And I'm on the tips of my toes.
Yeah. So you don't want your hips dropping down or anything like
Okay.
that. You want to maintain pushing away from the floor. So what I like to do with this one is let people raise a particular body part off of the ground.
Okay.
So if I say left leg, we can go up, left leg, in the air.
Okay, left leg.
Exactly. All right. And then you put left leg down. Then I call another one. I say right leg up.
Okay.
Good. Super easy. Then I say right hand. This one's a little harder.
Very much so.
And down. Then I say left hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Balance is gone.
So this is a really good right leg. This is a really good one to play with. You can have fun with this. Super simple. Low impact. Left leg. And right hand. Up. And left hand. So what you guys want to avoid is having your hips turn away from the floor. You try, when your hips kind of high, Mandy, you got
they are.
No, right? Try to avoid turning your hips over and open like that. Try to keep your hips squared towards the floor while maintaining balance.
This is where I'm coming up. The balance is going. I'm sorry. I'm coming up just for a bit.
We have another one.
Okay.
This is one of my favorites. All right, this is a cocksit sit. So the idea is to sit and lift out of your hips. Keep your chest high, and then you're going to lift your feet off of the floor. All right. You want to keep it progressive.
Wait. Go through that again.
Sit tall. All right.
Sit tall.
Good posture.
Right.
All right.
Back straight.
All right. Back straight. And then you're going to lift your feet.
Hold the knees.
You can start with holding the knees, yes.
Okay.
But you're going to lift your feet off of the floor.
Like this.
There you go. All right. So the next thing you go for.
So I'm basically doing like a cradle.
Yeah, like a cradle. The next thing you go for is hands out, Wendy. Right.
Ta-da!
And then you raise the feet up.
Not too high. It's hurting.
Keep hold for like 10 seconds. Keep holding.
I got 5.
Benny, you gotta come back.
5 is better.
Come 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
All right, that's another good one. So then we getting back to plank, Wendy.
Okay.
We getting back to plank position. We got 2. I can give you all 3. All right, turn back over.
Wait a minute. Let me just get me back in order.
All right, turn back over. Everybody's familiar with these plank twists. I like to do mine a little differently. Some people like to wrap through with their plank twists if they're going here side and side, side and side. However, for mine,
I've seen that.
All right,
and,
for mine,
I'm already hearing my bones creaking. Okay, let's try it.
For my particular plank twist, I like to drop to one side and then snap up and focus on keeping my core tight. So you go down.
Here I am.
Yeah, and up, center, and down, and squeeze. So this entire time you're resisting.
Oh, that's not so bad.
And down, and up. We can do 10. And 9, and 8.
If I get to 3, don't count me out.
6. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ha!
Right,
I made it.
I feel we could do one more.
No.
One more. You sure?
I'm sure. Look.
That's part of the process, Wendy.
That's the part I don't like.
You gotta grow. You gotta grow some calluses on your hand. You gotta get your hands nice and strong.
No.
That's part of it. So those are 3. Those are 3 core exercises that you could do simple. Remember, you're doing the planks, raising one hand. You're gonna build some balance, build some stability.
Yeah, that's important, because I think if you've not exercised in a while, it's gonna be a little difficult to remember exactly how your body moves when it's being challenged.
Oh, most definitely. That is a thing. I think I spoke about this before. I had a friend of mine who's spent a lot of time sitting, and then because of that, you lose a lot of your power comes from your glutes.
It does.
So from that sedentary lifestyle and just sitting and stuff like that,
yep.
you end up, your body will adjust, and it's going to forget. It's going to go, well, we can get ready to deadlift or jump. It's going to be like, what are we doing?
Yep.
What is happening here? Exactly, muscle memory is key. So that repetition, that practice, that neuromuscular connect in the pathways, that is super, super important.
Okay.
All right? So you have the plank, moving the body part. Right hand, it's just instead of just holding the plank position.
Okay.
Right hand, left leg. If you get, advanced with it, you can lift both your right arm and your left
So I can do this?
Yes, you can do that. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
You ready to dance next week?
Yeah, I think
next
so.
Next week dancing.
Yes!
Right?
No, Kirsten will dance with you.
So then after that, we have the cock sit. So that's just sitting down, lifting up, pulling your knees up. And then the last one we had, what was the last one we had, Wendy? I forget.
We were rotating
the plank twist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have had a good morning. Yes, we have, Thorn. It's been a pleasure having you here.
Likewise.
Remember, these exercises, as Thorn said, we can take it step by step, little by little, but we'll get there, Thorny.
Exactly.
We'll get there.
See what I tell you? They'll get there eventually. We will all get there, of course. Remember to write to Mr. Califit246 at gmail.com, califit246 at gmail.com if you have any questions or queries, and if you need any further guidance on your exercise regime to get your body back into shape. And of course, you can meet him at Level Up Barbados, the gym in Lime Grove, just outside of Lime Grove in Hull Town. That's where he is most of his days, and that's where you can actually go to meet with him and share with him all of your concerns, health-wise and fitness-wise, and he can be able to guide you there. Opportunities still for some of you to be able to win some free gym classes, for a little while as they transform your body. And certainly one of the ways to do so is to head over to Level Up Barbados there at the gym, just outside of Lime Grove in Hull Town. I want to encourage you this morning as well to go check out eqicaribbean.com. Check it out. I think I shall when I get up from here to head back upstairs, because that's where we're going to be finding all in one space our opportunities to either receive a quotation or to provide a service. And that's one great way to start your day today. eqicaribbean.com. Look at it right there on your page, and on it you list as you go. A small fee registers you, but a great opportunity awaits you as well. Well, that's it for today. Thanks to my producer, Nadia Foster, our technical director in Anderson Nurse, our sound engineer in Christopher Blemon, and at Master Control, Tamisha Green. I'm Pearson Bowen saying good morning to all of you. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.